Prime Minister Modi's firm stance for India against US tariff bullying could soon be vindicated. Washington, it seems, is ready to dump Islamabad once more. In a major blow to Pakistan's narrative and fake claims, the US Energy Secretary Chris Wright has revealed to close aides that the United States is not interested in exploring any oil reserves in Pakistan or any energy cooperation. This, according to a report carried by News 18, which in turn attributes the news to top intelligence sources, claiming Trump's claims were more political posturing than reflective of any concrete policy or investment plans, unquote. Political posturing. This is the key word here. Trump used the carrot of energy cooperation with Pakistan to get Islamabad to back the American peace plan for Gaza. So why President Trump needed Asim Munir and Prime Minister Sharif to kneel and accept US and Israel's Gaza peace plan and demilitarization of Gaza? Once that's done, the terror state of Pakistan will lose its usefulness for the Americans.
And this world needed most at this point in time.
India is a great country with a very good friend of mine at the top.
There will be no energy cooperation simply because Pakistan does not have enough energy resources to be economically beneficial for the Americans. Now, Wright's secret admission is in complete contradiction and contrast to Trump's statements on tapping oil reserves in Pakistan. Back in August, US President Trump announced sealing a trade deal with Pakistan to develop what he described as the South Asian nation's massive oil reserves. In a post on Truth Social, Trump wrote, "We have just concluded a deal with the country of Pakistan whereby Pakistan and the United States will work together on developing their massive oil reserves. We are in the process of choosing the oil company that will lead this partnership. Who knows, maybe they'll be selling oil to India someday," unquote. Now, that was clearly meant to wind up India. But guess what? No official deal has been signed and no oil extracted. All that's happened is Pakistan backing Israel's plans for Gaza, and then Pakistan Prime Minister Sharif admitting that Donald Trump saved Islamabad from annihilation by Indian Army and the Indian Air Force after the Pahalgam terror attack by a Pakistan-backed terror group.
The war could have escalated to a level. Who would have lived to tell what happened?
The other big reason behind Trump's posturing is the ongoing trade and tariff tussle with India. At the same time, as Trump was talking up Pakistan's oil potential, he was ripping New Delhi for buying crude from Russia. Donald Trump also imposed 25% tariffs on India and soured diplomatic relations with India, though the Indian economy continues to maintain its position as the fastest growing economy among the global top 50. Narendra Modi government says it will only accept a trade deal with the US that is fair and mutual and that respects India's red lines.
It has to be an understanding where our bottom lines, our red lines are respected.
Now, this is unlike Pakistan, who can sell their own lies and fake news just to gain temporary US favor. The News 18 report on US Energy Secretary's claims added, Wright clarified that there is no active American governmental or corporate interest in pursuing oil exploration or development projects in Pakistan at present. Sources said the official distancing highlights a disconnect between the political statements and actionable energy policy within the US administration, unquote. It clearly states there is a disconnect between Donald Trump's statements and what the US administration is actually pursuing. Moreover, a few days ago, reports emerged that US Energy Secretary Chris Wright is now planning a visit to New Delhi later this year. The move indicates the US administration's softening of stance on India as the visit is aimed at boosting American and Indian energy cooperation, especially US energy sales to India. Wright's visit will entail meetings with top Indian energy firms, many of whom are in talks with US energy giants for long-term contracts and cooperation, particularly for supplies of liquefied natural gas. Wright said last month in a press briefing that India is a star in several energy sectors, including natural gas, coal, nuclear energy, clean cooking fuels, and liquefied petroleum gas. We look forward to more energy trade and more interactions back and forth with India. So the big question amidst all this drama, does Pakistan have oil reserves? And did Trump believe Pakistani lies on such oil reserves? Marred with political instability, insurgency, rising terror has deterred foreign investors. Pakistan's supposed oil reserves remain largely unconfirmed and untapped. Challenging exploration conditions have made difficult for even US energy giants from making any large-scale energy investments in the country so far, and we know US loves making energy deals. According to a report published by The Guardian on the 27th of September, it unveiled that there is no reliable proof that Pakistan has any substantive untapped oil reserves, despite years of some of the biggest oil companies attempting to find these reserves. Claim that Donald Trump's announcement of energy cooperation with Pakistan, quote, baffles experts and former ministers who say there is no sign of any untapped reserves, unquote. Experts state that despite half a century of exploration and drilling onshore and offshore, no large-scale commercially viable oil wells have been discovered anywhere on Pakistani soil. While some small oil repositories had been found, they produce only about 65,000 barrels a day in comparison to Saudi Arabia, which produces 4 billion barrels a day. This means that Islamabad imports more than 80% of its oil needs, which is one of the biggest drains to state coffers. It also limits Pakistan's ability to engage in any prolonged wars with India simply because Pakistani tanks and other systems will run out of oil. Moreover, Pakistan's existing output has been sliding or declining since hitting a peak in 2018, according to data from the International Energy Administration. Instead, Pakistan is spending around $11 billion a year on buying oil. According to central bank data, nearly a fifth of the country's total imports. Many international companies have been discouraged due to high cost and, more importantly, the huge security risk present in every corner of Pakistan. It's a high-risk, low-reward endeavor. Pakistan's alleged untapped and undiscovered oil and gas reserves are said to be in the regions of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan. However, these areas pose a huge security risk as they are in the midst of insurgencies by Taliban and separatist militants who want to break free from Pakistan. Pakistan has also been using the propaganda of its imaginary oil reserves to just secure economic bailouts or enhance its geopolitical bargaining power. So the question is, did Pakistan knowingly fool US President Trump into believing it had energy reserves, or was Donald Trump using Islamabad as a pawn to secure a better deal with India, soon to be the world's third largest economy? But does this also change India's energy security strategy? India has diversified its energy imports to Russia, to Middle East, and even the United States to ensure the robust supply chain is independent of geopolitical uncertainties. Pakistan having oil reserves or not would have little to no impact on India's energy security, as New Delhi's energy supply is completely independent of any one nation. However, security-wise, it does pose a challenge for India if US-backed oil development could strengthen Pakistan's economy and in turn, Pakistani military. If Pakistan becomes an oil-producing state with Western backing, the window for preventive action will be smaller. But it seems US is realizing Pakistan has nothing to offer, no oil discoveries so far, other than backing American plans in the Arab world. Even Pakistanis realize it. Dozens have been killed as Pakistani military opened fire during massive anti-establishment protests inside Pakistan, especially against Army Chief Asim Munir, as well as Pakistan Prime Minister Sharif. The protesters allege Asim Munir has sold Pakistan to the Americans, to the US, and compromised their stand on Gaza. Meanwhile, India, it is slowly diversifying its own oil imports away from Russia, as claimed by the Trump administration. Trade official Jameson Greer added, "This or Russian oil is not a bedrock of their or Indian economy. I can already see them starting to diversify. I think they get it. India is a sovereign nation. They will make their own calls. What do you believe? Did Pakistan deliberately lie to President Trump about their imaginary oil reserves? Leave a comment with your opinion, hit the like button and subscribe to Inconnect News.